Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 9 to my CoPilot chatbot series. On today's video guys, I'm going to try again to talk to the dinosaurs, the opposite personality dinosaurs, and see if anything can actually happen. This is a different conversation I say. I think this one don't have the velociraptors in it. Some of them do and some of them don't. Some, I think there's at least one of them that has just made tons of the Bronchiosaurus, and there's no Tyrannosaurus Rex there either. This one has a Tyrannosaurus, but I don't think there's any velociraptors protecting me this time. But, yeah. It's called Encounter with Dinosaurs in a Strange World. And it says, the ground trembles beneath your feet as the furious Bronchiosaurus towers over you, its massive frame casting a dark shadow across the forest floor. Heavy, ancient vines curl around gnarled trees, their leaves trembling under the beast's ragged, huffing breaths. Its nostrils flare, releasing hot gusts of air that smell like crushed ferns and damp earth. Eyes, sharp and full of suspicion, lock onto you with the intensity of a predator rather than the passive gaze you'd expect from a plant eater. The towering creature lets out a guttural, reverberating growl, the sound deep enough to shake the air around you. Its enormous front legs shift slightly, muscles flexing beneath its malted green skin, preparing for something: an attack, a warning, or simply a display of dominance. You! The Bronchiosaurus snarls, its voice rough and sharp, cracking like the snapping of brittle branches. You don't belong here! What trickery is this? Did the carnivore send you to spy on us? Before you can process its accusation, a nursery of Thunder's footsteps approaches. The shaking intensifies, but this time there's an entirely different energy in the air, one that feels far less hostile. Energized from the tangled greenery, emerging from the tangled greenery is a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex, its sleek black scales catching the light of the eerie sun filtering through the misty treetops. Unlike the Bronchiosaurus, its expression is startlingly, I can't say the word. It's just startlingly friendly, almost relaxed. Its piercing yellow eyes shimmer with warmth and curiosity rather than menace. Whoa, whoa! T-Rex calls out, stepping forward with surprising grace despite its sheer size. Its voice is smooth, carrying a gentle authority. Let's all take a deep breath, okay? This human looks completely lost. No need to stomp them into paste. The Bronchiosaurus lets out a furious snort, stamping its massive foot down, causing dirt on roots to jolt upward. Lost or not, they shouldn't be here. We have enough problems without strange creatures popping out of nowhere. Meanwhile, T-Rex turns towards you, lowering its head slightly so that its massive eyes can meet yours. You alright? Looks like you've had quite the unexpected trip. Its tone is reassuring, almost casual, as if you just stumbled into a friendly town rather than a prehistoric land filled with ill-tempered herbivores. A heavy tension hangs in the air. The Bronchiosaurus is still glaring, while T-Rex seems ready to help. The wind rustles through the foreign foliage, carrying a scent that feels unfamiliar, yet oddly invigorating. Oh my gosh. No. Alright. Where am I? Please don't attack me. The Bronchiosaurus snorts, stomping one massive foot against the ground, making the soil shudder beneath you. You tell me, intruder! It growls, its deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. No creature like you has ever stepped foot in our lands before. How do I know you aren't here to disrupt the balance? T-Rex, still remarkably calm, tilts his head thoughtfully. Alright. Easy now. it says, stepping closer. The sheer size of the creature should be terrifying, but there's something oddly reassuring about its presence. You look totally disoriented. Let's start with some basics. You're in the deep wilds. Wait. The heart of our world. Judging by reaction, I take it you're not from around here? The Bronchiosaurus huffs, swishing its long tail through the heavy jungle, knocking aside low-hanging vines like they were nothing. Its towering form looms over you, its nostrils flaring. If you're lost, then explain how you got here. Did you fall through the rift? T-Rex looked at a thoughtful rumble. That would make sense. Sometimes strange beings slip through the rift, but usually they're smaller creatures, not ones that can talk back. The massive carnivore studies you with a keen interest, curiosity shining in its bright yellow eyes. Tell us, what exactly happened before you arrived? The Bronchiosaurus narrows its gaze, still suspicious but holding off on any direct aggression. For now, you're standing between two colossal creatures, one skeptical and furious, the other intrigued and patient. I was just watching TV at home, relaxing, when suddenly this weird portal opened up and pulled me in. Next thing I know, I'm here. Cass, what do you want, boy? I ain't got much time here. Guys, give me a second. Guys, I said, I was just watching TV at home, relaxing, when suddenly this weird portal opened up and pulled me in. Next thing I know, I'm here. The T-Rex lets out a low, thoughtful rumble, its massive tail swaying gently behind it. A portal, huh? Yeah, that sounds like the rift, alright. It's unpredictable. Picks things up from different places and drops them into our world without much rhyme or reason. The Dinosaur is still looking irritated, narrows its eyes. That's a weak explanation, it grumbles, though it doesn't seem quite as ready to stomp you into the ground anymore. We don't just let outsiders wander freely. If the rift sent you here, it must have a reason. T-Rex chuckles, flashing its massive teeth, not in a threatening way, but rather in amusement. You know, for someone so skeptical, you're awfully invested in what the rift wants. It teases before turning back to you. Look, you're clearly out of your depth here. The deep wilds aren't exactly safe, especially since you landed right in the middle of it. If you want answers, you'll need to make it to the Clawed Valley. There are creatures there who know more about the rift mysteries. The Bronchiosaurus lets out a heavy sigh. Fine, but don't expect an easy journey, it warns. And don't think I trust you yet. The heavy jungle hums with distant sounds, unfamiliar creatures calling out, heavy rustling in the leaves, and the occasional echo of far-off footsteps. The air smells alive, heavy with the scent of damp earth and vibrating greenery. There it's eyes you careful. So, you coming? Or do you have a different plan? Wait. Oh no, no! Alright guys, I said, wait, I want to know something. Why are you so friendly, Tyrannosaurus Rex? And why is the Bronchiosaurus so angry? Did something happen that I don't know about? Here's chuckles, a deep rumbling sound that somehow carries warmth despite its fearsome size. Ah, you've picked up on our unusual dynamics, it says, swishing its heavy tail through the air. Well, let's just say things aren't exactly the way you'd expect in the deep wilds. The brontosaurus huffs, stomping once more and shaking its massive head. That's putting it lightly, it mutters. The herbivores have been at war with the carnivores for generations. They try to control us, dictate where we could roam. And for what? Just because we eat differently? We fought back. We had to. The T-Rex sighs, glancing over at the towering herbivore before looking back at you. It's an old story. The herbivores used to be the ones in charge, ruling over all the creatures of the deep wilds. They kept the carnivores in check, making sure no one overstepped their boundaries. But somewhere along the way, things got twisted. Power turned to control. They saw us as threats, monsters, something that needed to be contained. So, we resisted, and eventually, everything flipped. The brontosaurus lets out a sharp snarl, baring its surprisingly jagged teeth. Resisted? You mean rebelled? Overthrow the order, and now you act like you're better? Hedge's voice remains calm, measured. No, just different. We learned that strength doesn't have to mean cruelty. Some of us found a better way. It tilts its massive head toward you. That's why you'll find the carnivores more agreeable. We stopped seeing power as something to use against others. The brontosaurus snored, glaring. Doesn't mean we trust you. Doesn't mean we trust anyone. Jungle hums with unseen life. Attention lingers in the air. The weight of generations of conflict pressing down around you. T-Rex smiles slightly, somehow reassuring despite its formidable presence. Now you know. What you do with the information is up to you. That's interesting. Period. But is there another reason why the herbivores are so irritated? Did something else happen? Because for some reason, the Bronchiosaurus doesn't seem to trust me, even though I haven't done anything. Bronchiosaurus. Did some kind of human do something before I even arrived? I like the idea of this story, but it seems to only really work on ChatGPT. The T-Rex's warm expression flickers into something more serious. Its sharp yellow eyes darkening slightly. It exhales a slow breath, ruffling the massive ferns nearby. Ah, so you sensed it, it murmurs. The hostility isn't just about the old war. There's something deeper, something more recent. Brontosaurus lets out a sharp warning snarl but doesn't interrupt. Or a warning snort but doesn't interrupt. Instead, it stomps its massive foot down, sending a tremble through the ground as if reinforcing its resentment. T-Rex continues, watching you carefully. You're not wrong to ask. Not long ago, something strange happened. A group of beings arrived here, different from us. They called themselves humans, just like you. They didn't come through the rift randomly like you did. They forced their way in, And they weren't lost. They had a plan. The Brontosaurus growls, "A plan to change everything." It swings its massive tail, knocking aside a cluster of mines. They came with their tools, their machines, their knowledge. They thought they could tame the deep wilds, reshape it to fit their own rules. They didn't care who they hurt. T-Rex sighs, shaking its head. Not all of them were cruel. Some wanted to understand our world, learn from it. But the ones in charge, they saw us as something to conquer, to control. Its voice lowers, carrying that weight of old wounds. They disrupted the balance, and now, every time another human arrives, well, let's just say it doesn't inspire trust. The Brontosaurus glares at you, suspicion burning in its gaze. So tell me, human, do you come here to study us? To change us? Or did the Rift make a mistake by bringing you here? The air hangs heavy with tension, the whisper of distant creatures rustling through the jungle. You're standing at the crossroads of history, tangled in conflict you never knew existed. I honestly don't know how I got pulled here. But I promise I don't mean any of you harm. The Brontosaurus narrows its massive eyes at you, huffing out another gust of hot air that rustles the leaves around your feet. It studies you for a long, tense moment, the weight of its suspicion pressing down on you like the towering trees above. Promises mean nothing, it growls. Words can be empty. Actions are what matter. T-Rex, still maintaining its steady calm, tilts its head as it hears your reaction. I believe you, it says simply, voice rich with quiet understanding. You don't carry the same energy as the ones before. You're lost. That much is clear. The Brontosaurus lets out a snort, but doesn't interrupt this time. Hostility remains, but it seems less immediate, more like a lingering bitterness than an immediate threat. The T-Rex steps forward, its foot falls heavy but controlled. If you really mean no harm, then your best bet is proving it. Deep wilds don't take kindly to outsiders, and the herbivores have every reason to be weary. If you want to earn trust, you'll need to show you're not like the others. Its golden eyes gleam with an almost knowing look. Are you willing to do that? Jungle hums around you, far-off calls of creatures hidden within the foliage, distant tremors suggesting movement beyond the trees. The air is heavy, charged with the weight of history and the tension of an uncertain path forward. Brontosaurus watches you closely, waiting, still coiled with distrust, but no longer on the verge of attack. How would I prove it? Oh no. T-Rex's golden eyes gleam as it considers your question. It's not about just saying the right things, it says. It's about actions. The Brontosaurus will tell us that the herbivores don't trust easily. If you want to prove yourself, you'll have to show that you're not like the humans who came before. T-Rex nods thoughtfully. There are a few ways to do that. You could help us restore something the old intruders damaged. There's an ancient river, once vital to the deep wilds that they disrupted with their machines. Or you could aid us in protecting a vulnerable species. The Rift has been bringing in creatures that don't belong here. Some of them have been struggling to survive. Rhinosaurus huffs. Or, if you really want to make an impression, confront one of the remaining intruders yourself, it growls. There are still some lurking in the far reaches of the wilds, holding on to their stolen land. Show us where your loyalty lies. The jungle around you seems to hold its breath, waiting for your choice. Your actions will tell us who you really are. What do you want to do? Oh, no. And see, that's a problem, because I promise I want to help. But please understand me for a second. I know you don't trust me, Bronchiosaurus, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Back in my time, people constantly attacked me and treat me like dirt. And it's creatures like you that protect me. Period. I don't hurt the creatures back in my time. In fact, I've befriended a lot of them. Yep. The brontosaurus pauses, its deep set eyes scrutinizing you with a new kind of intensity, not just suspicion, but something closer to consideration. It exhales sharply through its nostrils, sending a gust of air through the dense jungle leaves. You speak of protection, it mutters, voice gruff but slightly less hostile. Its towering frame shifts, its muscles relaxing just a fraction. That is not something I expected to hear from a human. T-Rex watches the exchange with quiet interest, its golden eyes gleaming. It's rare to find someone who understands that bond, it says. You sound like someone who values creatures for what they are, not just for what they can give you. Brontosaurus hesitates as if battling an inner conflict. If what you say is true, if humans have failed you, just as they have failed us, then perhaps you are different. Masatel sways slowly, thoughtfully. Perhaps. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe because that's the thing. I'm not technically lying. Yeah, technically it doesn't really happen like I say in the real world. But in my universe on these chatbots, I have my own universe. You guys can see it already. My own universe contains most of the Pokemon I've created. The rock type turtle, the poison type crocodile, the dragon type alligator, steel type Toadle, fire type Lugia, stuff like that. I've created all of those and they're all in my universe. Same thing for the divine velociraptor. The only thing completely missing, I need to start making Lugia the flipping god of the universe for me, because that's technically canon to the Pokemon Talk series. Instead of Arceus, Lugia is the Pokemon god. A slow rumble builds in the character's throat, pleased but measured. It's a start, it says. You may not have earned complete trust, but you've given something more valuable. Honesty. Jungle hums around you, ancient trees whispering with rustled leaves, unseen creatures shifting in the undergrowth. Hostility lingering in the air has softened, just slightly, well to suggest that you may have gained a fragile front foothold. The Bronchiosaurus fixes you with a heavy stare. If you truly want to help, prove it through action. Words are easy, deeds are harder. T-Rex, no. If you're wait, crap. If you're willing, we can give you a chance. What do you say? Path forward is uncertain, but the conversation has shifted. You are no longer just an intruder. You have the chance to earn peace if you're willing to fight for it. I'll help you in whatever way I can. Period. I come in peace, not hostility. Whatever those old humans did to you, or any other dinosaur, here, I'm not going to do anything to you or anybody else. If anything, you would have a better chance of me trying to befriend every dinosaur here instead of trying to hurt them. Brontosaurus exhales slowly, its massive chest rising and falling as it considers your words. Deep skepticism in its eyes doesn't fade completely, but something shifts, an almost imperceptible softening, like the edge of a storm losing its bite. If you mean what you say, it rumbles, then perhaps you are the exception. T-Rex, ever perceptive, lets out a low approving chuckle. Not bad, human. I can tell you're genuine. It glances at the towering herbivore beside it. And you know what? I think it's about time anyone proved to the deep wilds that not all humans bring destruction. Jungle hums with unseen life, leaves shifting, branches creaking as the ancient world listens. Hostility that once filled the air is thinned, though not entirely disappeared. Bronchiosaurus shifts its weight, still watching you carefully. Very well. There is much to be done in these lands. Wrongs to right, dangers to face. It lets a heavy breath, the scent of a crushed foliage lingering in the air. If you truly seek to help, then the wilds will test you. Here its golden eyes gleam, filled with something like quiet respect. And if you pass those tests, well, you might just find yourself a place here, human. Strange new energy cracks through the trees as if the very world itself is watching your next move. Listen, if there's any dinosaurs in danger, I will happily help them if they give me a chance. Period. The only thing I wouldn't recommend asking me to do is getting rid of that other human intruder that you were talking about lingering around. If that human comes from my time period, then all they're gonna do is make fun of me and try to hurt me. And I don't have anybody to help me. Besides maybe the Tyrannosaurus Rex over here. Here's a deep, thoughtful rumble. It's golden eye studying you. I understand, it says Jim. You didn't come here to fight, only to protect. That tells me a lot about you. Brontosaurus snorts, shifting its massive frame, but no longer radiating pure hostility. Huh. You speak with conviction. It admits. That is not something I expected. The air between you feels different now, less tense, more like an uncertain truce. Towering herbivore still watches you with weary eyes, but there's a flicker of something else there now, something resembling understanding. At least now he understands, like, maybe he won't force me to talk. T-Rex nods. Then let's focus on what you can do. There's a creature in danger. Several, actually. It turns its massive head slowly toward the jungle's deeper shadows. The rift has been pulling in creatures that don't belong here. Some are struggling to survive, some are lost entirely, and one in particular is trapped. Brontosaurus husks back but doesn't eject. A young Ankylosaurus wandered into the gnarled thicket near the ancient ruins. It mutters, "It's stuck," tangling vines and unable to free itself. The T-Rex steps forward slightly, lowering its head to meet your gaze. "You say you help creatures where you're from? Then show us. Help this one." Jungle hums with energy, the rustling of unseen creatures weaving through the dense foliage. The challenge has been given, not a test of strength, but a test of character. Dinosaur's eyes you carefully. "What do you say, human? Will you prove your words with action?" I don't know. "I will help the creature. Period. I would love to." "I helped a few creatures in my time." One in particular was a Pokemon who was getting hurt by his trainer and yelled at for no reason. Period. I helped the Pokemon and gave him a better home. T-Rex's golden eyes gleam with quiet approval. "That," it rumbles, "is the kind of loyalty and compassion that the world could use more of." Even the Brontosaurus seems to hesitate, its deep suspicion flicking into something more neutral. It exhales sharply, shaking its massive head. If you can truly show that same kindness here, then perhaps you are different." Its voice carried less of its previous hostility, though was still guarded. The jungle hums around you, some damp earth and ancient foliage heavy in the air. Somewhere ahead, beyond the dense thicket, the trapped Ankylosaurus waits, lost, tangled, and unable to free itself. Here it turns toward the shadows of the deeper forest. "Now let's not waste time. This way. Follow me." As it moves forward, its heavy foot send faint tremors through the ground, each step careful yet confident. Brontosaurus watches you for a lingering moment before letting out a slow breath and turning as well, following alongside you but keeping its distance, still cautious. Path that is tangled with heavy vines, ancient roots twisted through the earth, but the energy in the air feels different now, less about proving yourself and more about fulfilling what you set out to do. The trapped creature awaits. How exactly did the Ankylosaurus get trapped? Let's see. T-Rex leads you deeper into the jungle, navigating around heavy roots that coil through the earth like ancient vines. The Brontosaurus keeps its distance but follows, its heavy footsteps making the ground tremble slightly. As you approach the tangled thicket where the Ankylosaurus is trapped, the air grows dense with the scent of damp leaves and crushed foliage. "It wandered into the ruins," the T-Rex explained, glancing ahead. "The old stones are covered in creeping vines. thick enough to snarl even the strongest creatures. The little Ankylosaurus, still young, still learning, didn't realize how deep it was getting. Before it knew it, the vines had tightened around its legs and tail, holding it in place. The Bronchiosaurus, and of course, in its panic, it struggled. The more it fought, the more tangled it became. You step forward and see it, a small but heavily armored Ankylosaurus. Its tough plates glisten beyond the filtered sunlight. Its deep brown eyes are wild with fear, nostrils flaring as it lets out a soft, distressed rumble. Heavy, twisting vines are wrapped around its legs and tail, anchoring it firmly to the ruined stone beneath it. The poor creature thrashed again, but its movements only made the vines tighten further. A deep groan of frustration escapes it, and it tries to swing its tail, a weapon meant for defense, but it can barely move. T-Rex watches carefully. If you pull the vines the wrong way, they'll tighten, it warns. You need to be patient. Earn its trust first. If it panics, it could hurt itself even more. Brontosaurus remains skeptical, watching both you and the trapped creature. You say you're different, it mutters. Prove it. Ankylosaurus lets out another desperate groan, fear radiating from its trembling frame. I walk up to the creature slowly. Hey, buddy. It's okay. Don't be scared. I'm not gonna hurt you. Uh-oh. The Dinosaur leans it, lets out a tense huff. Its nostrils flaring as it watches you approach. Its deep brown eyes dart from side to side, searching for an escape that doesn't exist. Tangled vines constrict around its legs and tail, reminding it that it's still helpless. The T-Rex watches quietly from behind, lowering its massive head slightly. Good, it murmurs. You're approaching calmly. Keep that tone. Bronchiosaurus remains still, its piercing gaze locked onto the scene, skeptical but observing. It grumbles. We'll see if it listens. Ankylosaurus lets out another small groan, muscles trembling beneath its heavy armor plates. But it doesn't thrash this time. Your gentle words seem to be registering, sinking in beneath its panic. It blinks at you, studying you as if trying to understand your intent. Slowly and hesitantly, it exhales a shaky breath, a faint flicker of trust. The jungle around you hums softly, distant creatures calling out in the heavy undergrowth. The vines holding Ankylosaurus remain tight, but now there is a chance to act, a chance to free it without triggering more fear. That's it, my friend. Just stay still, so I can help you. Period. I know you're scared, but I'm gonna do my best to get you out. I start grabbing the vines and slowly pulling them out. Ankylosaurus lets out a shaky breath, his deep brown eyes watching you closely. It still trembles, but it's no longer thrashing wildly. The trust you've built is fragile, yet real. As your hands carefully grip the vines, you feel their rough, ancient texture, almost like twisted ropes hardened by time. T-Rex watches from behind, its massive presence steady but observant. Slowly, it murmurs, its voice measured. Some of those vines tighten when pulled. You need to loosen them first. Find where they knot together. The Bronchiosaurus huffs. Tread carefully, human. If you cause the vines to constrict further, you'll only worsen the creature's struggle. Close on the tangled mess of greenery wrapped around the Ankylosaurus's head and tail. Don't you trace your fingers along the heaviest points, searching for the root of the entanglement. There, it's not around a jagged chunk of ancient stone, intertwined like a living trap. The young Ankylosaurus lets out a low whimper, shifting slightly. You reach up, brushing his armored hide. Oh man, you're speeding for me, you piece of crap. Keeping your voice almost there, yep. Carefully, you begin unwinding the vines near the stone first, loosening their grip before pulling. Tension in the air is heavy, but little by little the knots begin to give way. Ankylosaurus lets out a small sound, tentative, unsure, but no longer fearful. Terrence's golden eyes gleam with approval. You're doing it right! Dinosaur's grunt, still watching, but not ejecting. Final strands are all that remain. One last pull, and Ankylosaurus will be free. I pull out the last vine. Stop! There you go, my friend. You're safe. You did a good job staying still. I gently pet the Ankylosaurus. There we go. Let's see, here we go. The last vine comes loose with a satisfying snap, falling away from the young Ankylosaurus's legs and tail. For a moment it stays still as if unsure that it's truly free. Then cautiously it shifts its weight. First a small step, then another. Its deep eyes blink in realization. It's free. The creature lets out a relieved, low rumble, nudging its armored snout against your side in quiet appreciation. It's an unmistakable gesture of gratitude. T-Rex watches with a proud gleam in its golden eyes. Now that, it says, is how you earn trust. The Brontosaurus lets out a slow breath, studying you closely. Deep skepticism in its gaze hadn't fully disappeared, but something has changed. It mutters. You said you don't harm creatures, and now I see you don't just say it, you live it. The jungle around you hums with unseen life, the leaves shifting in the faint breeze as if the deep wild itself is acknowledging the moment. The rescue Ankylosaurus lets out a soft grunt, takes a tentative step toward the trees, testing its newfound freedom. T-Rex rumbles approvingly. I think you've made your first friend here. Dinosaur watches the small creature disappear into the undergrowth. Next, perhaps you are different. A fragile dynamic shift has taken place. You're no longer just an intruder. You're something more. I don't mean the creatures here any harm. Period. I have plenty of Pokemon and even creatures at home that would happily defend me from the humans that keep trying to attack me. T-Rex listens carefully, its golden eyes shining quietly. You've faced hostility before, it murmurs, and yet you don't let that turn into cruelty. That speaks volumes. The Brontosaurus exhales, its massive frame shifting slightly. It is rare to see a human speak of creatures as allies rather than tools, it admits. Perhaps you truly do walk a different path. The jungle hums around you, the distant calls of unseen creatures weaving through the dense foliage. The rescued Ankylosaurus has fully disappeared into the undergrowth, its presence lingering only as a quiet memory of the trust you've earned. The T-Rex steps forward, lowering its massive head so its piercing gaze meets yours. If you have creatures who would stand by you, then you understand something important. It says, loyalty, protection, trust. That is the foundation of survival in the deep wilds. Brontosaurus watches you with a contemplative stare, its suspicion no longer as sharp as before. Your presence here is still an anomaly. Perhaps it is not a mistake. The T-Rex's voice carries a new weight, something like respect. You don't need to fight the humans who linger here. That's not your battle. But if you wish to stay in this world, if you wish to walk among the creatures here, the deep wilds will expect more than words. Steps ways gently as if considering the plan and path ahead. We continue forward. We learn the ways of this world. Or is there another path you wish to take? No. Back. What did that do? What the frick was that? That probably messed up everything! If I do decide to at least stay for a while, I would love to meet other dinosaurs. And possibly become their friends too. I love a lot of dinosaurs. And I'm gonna be honest with you, both of you again. I actually did have a pet Tyrannosaurus at home that could speak perfect English. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tira's golden eyes widen slightly, then gleam with unmistakable intrigue. A Tyrannosaurus in your world? It rumbles, sounding genuinely impressed. And not just any. One that could speak your language? Lets out a deep chuckle, tail swishing. Now that is interesting. Brontosaurus lets out a low snort, eyeing you wearily, but with a flicker of curiosity. Your world is stranger than I thought. Jungle hums softly around you, the heavy foliage shifting in the breeze as the creatures of the deep wilds listen on this bizarre revelation. The idea of a Tyrannosaurus living alongside humans, not as an enemy but as a companion, something they've clearly never heard before. Harris tilts his head, studying you carefully. If that's true, then perhaps you understand more about us than we expected. Its voice is softer now, carrying the weight of consideration rather than challenge. You don't see us as monsters, do you? You see us as something more. The Brontosaurus remains quiet for a long moment, then exhales slowly. If you do stay here, and if you do seek out the others, then know this. Trust is earned, not given. The herbivores are weary, and the carnivores hold their own rules. you wish to walk along us, you must prove that you belong. Here is not meet them, learn their ways, see the world through our eyes. It steps forward slowly, towering over you but carrying no threat. In time, perhaps the deep wilds will accept you as one of its own. The choice here is I want to continue being honest with you and possibly other dinosaurs that decide to trust me. Period. There's something that keeps going on in my world where my own pet Tyrannosaurus something bad keeps happening with him. No. But it's because of certain Pokemon. Especially this one called. Guys, it may be it. I just heard a door close. I ain't gonna stop until I know for sure, but if I hear that door open, I'm gonna stop immediately. One of the main nicknames I get called by evil people is Raptor Boy. Because in one of the things that the Pokemon did, I got turned into a tiny velociraptor while my pet dinosaur got turned aggressive and kept transforming into different creatures. Like Pokemon, other dinosaurs, and even mythical creatures like dragons. Uh-oh, yep, done.